Um, so I'm gonna talk about a few things, but the way I'm gonna bring it up, you guys know sometimes it feels like for me that I'm talking in circles, but it's not that. Um, so I have, over the years, I have had no choice but to come to the complete understanding that you have to be open to learning from everyone. And when I mean everyone, I mean the negative experiences, the karmics, and not just the karmics in terms of those situations being the catalyst for you ascending to your highest height, but also the information that is provided. I've never really heard nobody talk about the uh, the learning experiences that we spiritually understand beyond what's in us, if that makes sense. And I'll go deeper what I'm talking about. So with my karmic, one of the most pivotal relationships as far as karmic goes, karmic connections go, was the father of my children here this time. And he transitioned last year. So this is it. Back in like 2015, before I consciously, which I feel like this was the portal opening for me to step into spiritual conscious awareness, but it started with the social consciousness and political consciousness because of him. And so that opened the portal for him. He allowed himself to learn, and I wasn't there yet. I didn't really allow myself really consciously to 2018. 2017, some significant things happened to where I could technically say I started, starting the ascension path in 2017, but technically consciously 2018. Okay. But he shared a lot of knowledge, a lot of wealth of knowledge that over time start resurfacing again to where people give you information, for instance, right? And because you are where you are, like I always say, we had different paces, places, and spaces. But because of where I was, and because I was still in the energy of the conditioning of which I was raised in, when it came to certain things, I wasn't pulling in on the information. Now, I also want to say that just because people give you information doesn't mean you're supposed to do, your soul has to be ready, or your mental, just certain things have to be in alignment for you to receive the information. But I will tell you, pretty much everything that he shared with me always came back in a way to resurface, like for me to completely align with it, right? So I just, the main message is for me to deliver, because a lot of times when people have karmic connections, relationships, whether it's friends, family, lovers, whomever, they get this bitter energy, and that's part of the process. That is part of growth. So don't feel like bad or any type of negative energy surrounding that, because that is part of it, to have that energy, because you're realizing, you're inner and understanding things, and you go through different levels of emotions and different understanding. So it's okay if you get in that energy. The point is that you have to supersede and surpass that through healing. So where you get to a point where you're no longer bitter, you're no longer angry, and you're no longer triggered. Do you get what I'm saying? That's very important to understand. So understanding that you need to be open to learning from everyone. And I heard Conjure Queen say years ago, which Conjure Queen at a certain point on my ascension used to trigger me, because she used to talk about things within the occult realm, spiritually, that I just wasn't in alignment with. And this was back in 2018. But now, different story. Yes, I get it. Wholeheartedly, completely. But that's where I was on my journey. You see what I'm saying? Hold on. Yeah. But she was saying how you learn the most through your enemies. So also at that time when I heard her say that, I was energetically, or however you want to say, positioning that my relationship with him as just karmic and just negative and just low vibrational, and just being, because also a lot of people go through, when they're ascending spiritual ascension constant levels, you go through that kind of judgy phase. You do. You do. But she was just saying about learning from your enemies. You learn some of the biggest lessons or whatever. I can't remember how she worded it, but it's true. You learn from your enemies. So I was put in a position to where I was looking at him as my enemy, but there was also people that had given me nuggets of wisdom, where they were. And I did not fully and understand it. But as I allowed myself to grow and allowed myself to, and just like letting stuff go and being in deep forgiveness, I was able to see things differently, if that makes sense. We're spitting shit. But that is I don't like making the messages super, super long, you guys, because then I feel like I'm rambling. And I want you guys to pull in the information where you at, because some people have slight short attention span. So, and like myself at times, but that's something that is something spiritual too. So you do have to work through that as well. But a lot of people may not understand as far as the healing and purifying yourself and all that. It's about allowing and surrender. Something I've been talking a lot about positioning yourself to just flow. Okay. Because your mind, not having your root chakra in alignment and cleared, along with your other chakras, will cause you to feel like you need to have control. And you will not get the highest potential of growth and healing from having control. That's ego. People tell me that a lot, like, oh, well, this and this and that. No, baby, I'm telling you, you got to flow. You have to release. You have to surrender, because you're going to stay in a matrix. You get what I'm saying? So I hope that this is beneficial to you in some sort of way. I love y'all.